All right, I'm here with Colin Nathan, Hotbox MTK Africa. Firstly, how's things going for you now in 2020?
Well, it's going really well. Actually off today. I'm going to watch the African Olympic qualifiers. I'm flying in for the semis and the finals, and then I'll be back on Monday. So I was going to try and take a little bit more time to go, but I've just got too many work commitments here. But it was important, and it is important that I go and take a look to see what's going on.
MTK Global, MTK Africa, big weekend for them, especially MTK Global, Tyson Fury doing the damage over Deontay Wilder in a fashion that no one really expected him to do. What was your take on it?
Well, I thought Tyson Fury would win. I thought he'd actually win on points. I never thought that he would dominate Wilder the way he did, but he had the right game plan. That's what you do with a puncher. You take his leverage away and you keep him on the back foot, and he took his right hand away effectively, and I think that was the difference in the fight compared to the first fight, where he moved around a lot and he really did take it to Wilder, and I thought that caught Wilder by surprise, and I don't think Wilder was anticipating that kind of fight from Fury. It's just been a great weekend and a great week for MTK Global.
Speaking about that on the African front, as you said, you're going to the games. Is this going to the games to have a look what's there, or looking to sign someone?
Well, it's also to keep the momentum flowing for the company. MTK is on a high at the moment, obviously with the Fury win, and obviously I was in North Africa recently. There'll be an announcement on someone I've just recently signed, a great prospect. There are a couple of kids that I'm interested in the Olympic qualifiers. From Uganda and so forth. So potentially just to keep an eye on the talent going through, and obviously we're going to tell the company for the guys who are going to be in Japan, just to keep an eye on these kids. There's a lot of talent on this continent, a lot of talent. And MTK Africa is doing really well. We did really well last year, bringing a lot of the South African stock over to the company. Now my objective is to look within the continent, and obviously I signed a really good fighter recently, which there'll be an announcement shortly. And just to keep that momentum flowing and going, I have quite a few trips scheduled, one being in Nigeria, potentially Mauritius, Kenya, Tunisia, Algeria, even looking at Egypt. So I'm really busy, and then going back to Morocco at some point. So there's just a lot of momentum flowing within MTK Africa, and I need to keep that momentum going and flowing.
Talking about current MTK Africa stars is Limini fighting on the 8th of March. He is also was a spectacular amateur, all-African gold medalist as well. With him being that accomplished, are you confident that he could actually make that leap to a world title earlier than most people thought?
Well, definitely. If you see his momentum now, particularly how he's moved nicely in the ratings, he's number 4 in the WBC. At 130 pounds, at 126 pounds. So there's going to be a shift in those ratings very soon, given the activity with Russell Jr. I expect Lerato, please God, to win this contest, and then obviously move into a better contention for either Eliminator or world title. But I think Lerato is going to be the surprise package. I really do. I think he's just getting better and better. He's just improving. He's just moving up levels. I've seen him in training. I've seen him in sparring. And he's been sparring really good quality fighters. And I've seen the improvements. And that's why I think he's going to be the surprise package. So he's also getting a lot of momentum going for MTK Africa. WBC silver, number 4 in the world. I expect big things from him this year.
Now let's look at his fight. He's fighting the Namibian Nathaniel Kakalolo. He's also a tough fight. He's recently beaten Magagane as well.
Correct.
What do you make of him?
I think this is going to be a good fight, and I think it's a fight it's going to be an exciting fight. I don't think that Lerato should blow him out early. I think this potentially could go the distance. I think it should be a compelling fight because Nathaniel throws a lot of punches. He's very aggressive on the front foot, and I think he's going to make Limini work for this win. And I suspect that's going to be the pattern of the fight. But I do think Lerato is going to win the fight. And I think he's going to look impressive in doing so. But I do think it's going to be a hard fight for both guys. And I think it's going to be a good fight for the fans.
Obviously, that's a very stacked bull that Rumble Africa have. Lerato and Limini stole the night in Saudi Arabia. Do you think he'll steal the night again here in South Africa?
It's a really good bull. Rumble Africa are really delivering. So big respect to them. You got Youngest, Nubo. It's a good fighter as well. He's also in the world ratings now. You know, that's up to the fighters to steal the show. I can't predict, but I can predict a spectacular performance from Limini and Younger as well. I know he's got a new trainer and he's looking the part as well from what I'm reading and just gauging off Facebook and so forth. So it's going to be exciting ball. I think Lorata, like I said previously, is a surprise package and don't be surprised if he fights for the world title by the end of the year.
Now let's go to Reno Levenberg next. He obviously didn't get his opportunity to fight Rowan Campbell after all the drama that happened on on the channel.
Skippy's in the house.
But looking at his fight now, is it a walk in the park or no?
I think Kabunga's going to bring a good fight for Reno. I think he's a tough guy, punches hard, very aggressive, can fight in only one position. And I think it's a fight that Reno has to win to get some sort of momentum in his career to hopefully get a big fight. This is the last year for Reno. The other contest obviously fell apart. I don't really want to talk about it. I think the viewers can make a decision and opinion for themselves with regards to the challenge that was issued, was accepted in the ring. No point in crying over spilled milk. They're doing what they need to do, and to be honest with you, I don't really care. I worry about Reno, and that's my objective and my business. And obviously, we want to close out his last year in boxing with a good year. He's got a few wins, or a couple of wins, and then call it.
Another guy's Hickey Butler fights in the Val on the 28th of March. Big news for him coming back as well. We didn't see him for the entire of last year. It's good that he's coming back this year and potentially big things lined up for him as well.
Yeah, well, it's also, this is a fight that he's got to shake off the cobwebs and get back into the winning column and obviously have a good fight and a good workout. And it's a must-win situation. He's the WBC #1 contender for King Shiro. And I think Shiro, obviously, I saw against Peter Colin when I was ringside for that fight. And I think Hickey's style is a nightmare for Shiro, just based on the fact that Shiro's very upright. He's up on his toes, and a guy who's going to give him movement, lateral movement like Butler can, is going to be a nightmare for his style. But first things first, we've got to worry about him winning on the 28th of March, and I believe he will.
The IBF obviously ruled in a certain way for Xena Fuzile's case. Good news is that he will be contesting straight away for an eliminator. Is there any updates on that?
No, well, right now we haven't got the call yet because Rakimov has been honoured as the #1 mandatory contender. He's fighting Diaz next. Once that fight's happened, I believe the IBF will order us to engage an eliminator, and obviously we're going to accept. So potentially what we're looking at doing is getting Xena back in a comeback fight, just to get him back in the winning column and then engage in the IBF eliminator. It's all subject to the IBF and their decision when the order will go out.
Ideally, would you like that fight at home or where?
I think it's time for Xena to fight abroad. I think he's good enough. He proved that against Rakimov. Unfortunately, lost that fight. We accept the loss, and we have to now. But I think it's time for him to fight abroad, and I think he performs well abroad.
Your prediction for Rakimov against Diaz? I think it's a good fight.
I think this fight's going to come down to the wire. I think Diaz is a really tough kid. I think you're looking at a split decision either way. It's going to be a very different environment. I think a split decision either way. That's my prediction. I don't think Rakimov took a lot of punishment in his fight with Xena. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back from that. I think he probably took more punishment than Xena did, even though Xena lost that fight. So it's going to be interesting to see. Split decision.
2?
Maybe Diaz, because he's got a little bit more flow. Rakimov's a really good fighter. Not sure yet. I'll tell you closer to the time.
All right, and then just lastly, Carl, do you have any last comments and any shout-outs?
Big shout out to MTK Global for just being behind me. We've got some really good fighters on MTK Africa's books at the moment, and it's just going to keep going and going. I've got dreams, and MTK sees my dreams and they believe in my dreams. And obviously just to my family who accept me traveling a lot. And my business model is basically how I started my business model 12, 13 years ago was basically, going to identifying amateur fighters from, top amateurs. And now basically what I'm doing is the same thing, except now I'm doing it within the continent. And MTK understand my vision, they understand my dream, and this is just the first step. So this year, 2020, my business plan was to start working around the continent and getting really elite amateurs onto the company's books. So we started 2 weeks ago in North Africa. I'm obviously off to the African Olympic qualifiers now to see what's going on there. But there are fighters that I'm starting to identify as the next stars of African boxing. And my dream has always been to produce an African Pacquiao, a guy who can literally go overseas and knock someone out for a pound or a dollar, command that kind of currency. And I believe that I'm well on my way to achieving that, but the plan is 5 to 10 years time. And I think with the platforms opening up, streaming, other networks and so forth, I think there's going to be big waves within African boxing, and particularly these African fighters who never had these professional platforms before. And now with MTK starting to break into the African market, these platforms will start happening for them.